I'm going to split this lesson up into two parts. This is the video for, let's see, transforming quadratic functions. This is the video from May 11th. But I'm going to split it up into two parts just to make it easier for me to upload and download and then upload again. First off, 3 different ways to transform. That just means change. We've got 3 different function forms: standard, vertex, an intercept form, also known as factored form, and they all yield the same parabola, but they tell us different information. So first off, going from standard form to factored form. That means we're going from this, you don't have to write this down if you don't want to this. This is probably going to be maybe the most bothersome to you because we haven't done a whole lot of factoring, so that will be a bit more of a challenge. You're very capable of doing this, but it will be a bit more of a challenge. All right, if you need more help with this, the factoring piece, we can do a Google Hangout and we can get this done. I promise we can do that. Factor out a GCF if possible. So if possible, and actually, hint, every problem that you have, this number will be able to be factored out. Everything that you have at this stage in the game. Next year, no. This year, yes. So we want to factor out a -2. So we're going to go -2, -2, -2. When we factor that out, that leaves us with -2 times. When we simplify this, those cancel. That leaves us with x squared. When we simplify this, +4 divided by -2 is -2x. And 30 divided by -2 is -15. Then we want to simplify, we want to factor this. This is the part that might be a bit more of a challenge, so you want to factor the remaining trinomial. Oh, I want to indicate here, we're going to factor a out in this case. -2, and then we want to factor this into a binomial times a binomial. And here you might want to break out some highlighters. It's really important that you understand that to get this term right here, we would multiply those two, the first term in each binomial. So x times x gives us x squared. And then to get -15, we would multiply this by this. But here's the deal. Whatever we put there has to add up to give us -2. So how can we get -15? We can do 1 times -15, -1 times 15, 3 times -5, or -3 times 5. Which of these, I don't really like teaching it this way, but it's easier to do that with this problem without it, since you're not with me in a classroom. Which of these do we add up to get -2? I believe it's this one right here. That means that this is going to be our final answer. So that is intercept form. So the x-intercepts would be -3, 0, because x lies, don't forget, and 5, 0. But that's all you had to do. I didn't ask you for that piece. Next, we want to change from factored form to standard form. So we want to go in the other direction this time. So what we want to do here is multiply the binomials. So we've got x minus 1 and x minus 7. So what would we what's x times x? That gives us this square here. What's -1 times x? That gives us -1x. What's x times -7? -7x. And -1 times -7 gives us +7. Be careful with that. Slow down when you're doing these problems. Be careful with your positives and negatives. So that gives us, if we look at this carefully, we see that these are like terms. Look at how see these pens right here? These pens are the best. I'm going to use a highlighter because they don't bleed. They don't run. It's nice. So when we combine all those terms, what we get is this. Whoops, and then I forgot the stinking 4. And then, after we multiply the binomials, we are going to distribute through the parentheses. So we're going to do 4 times each one of these terms. 4x squared minus 32x plus 28. We have now changed it to standard form. So if we graph this and graph that, we will see one and only one parabola because those are the same. Okay, last but not least, now we're going from vertex form to standard form. So the first thing that we want to do, this is order of operations. Grouping symbols, you can't do anything there. Then deal with exponents, so square the binomial. x3, x3. So x times x is x squared. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times x is 3x. And 3 times 3 is not 6, it's 9. And then you see again we have a couple of like terms. There should be a pattern that you're seeing that happens here with these types of problems. So we're squaring the binomial, that's just the step 1 right here. So y equals negative, what do we have inside there? X squared plus 6x plus 9. The squaring is gone because we multiplied those. Now we're going to distribute this a through. A is, break out the red pen. There's a negative 1 right there. Those of you that remember Mrs. Overbeek, we're going to overbeek this and multiply through. Negative 1x squared minus 6x minus 9. And then don't forget to bring that negative 4 down, and then just combine the like terms. You don't have to have that 1 there if you don't want to. And there is our standard form. And we can tell the y-intercept is negative 3. Hey, take a break.